retired.
Officially been today we're not going to Senate because he is
Senators, walking does not be please get a name. Also, if you have a nameplate, pick that up. If you have a badge, pick that up. If you have a neither or one or the other. That makes sense.
I had this blocked off with some real nice white stuff, and I think housekeeping keeps taking it off. It's like it, and it wouldn't matter, but once it starts blowing air, it blows it right into the microphone.
And then make sure that the back button is white so it's sending a message actually goes one.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I know this. Yeah,
if you don't have a direct
oh, it was so frustrating. It's so hard. I didn't think it was good. I don't know. I just want to yeah, I have like 3 jobs, but then I have like I have 2 here and then 1 off campus. Where do you work at? I work at Cinema Cafe. I guess, yeah. I went. No, I'm at the one in Isla, so it's like Chesapeake. Like 20 minutes.
Yeah. So technically, she's not a
I love mine.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I didn't know what you do. Yeah. No, it's fine.
Do all senators have a clicker? If you don't, please grab one. Also grab your nameplate, and if you don't have your badge, please grab your badge.
black skirts, black pants, guys have black pants. Preferably a collared shirt. So wear everything else we say is emails. I don't know right now.
Really?
I'm sorry.
Okay, so that's so what about you were like, yeah, 2 forms. So you did the plus with that. Yeah, so I did. Yeah, I guess that's
Charles, let's have a chat. Come over here. Hello. I'm glad you're with us today.
I know.
You had a conversation that's all right.
I did. You didn't get it? Oh, that's an issue. Okay, I'll look for it. Don't worry. Okay.
Did you see like how many people that did it?
Yeah.
I saw that.
They did, but I still feel very
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Very excited. I went to Harlem.
John, what did your thing for was 11?
It's 10.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's so nice outside. I was just
We're
like,
at 14 right now.
When I was looking at stuff, I was doing I'm down that and I
Yeah, that's it.
They're supposed to. They fucking pay for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask the officers. They told me that's not their job.
Well.
Well, you can tell them, we'll pull over in the morning. How are you? That's right. They're supposed to.
Thankfully, the game
What is it?
Yeah, but I'm just
How are you?
like it's not letting me
Here's 5 minutes.
look at who's on here.
I just want to know, we're paying for them, so a lot of our students, like,
Just try to go, but after we like how we were talking to
Right now,
well, we can figure it out.
Yeah.
they don't want more than 20 minutes. They told us.
I'm trying for the
Oh, wait.
So, also, it's not
Does that mean that you're allowed to?
okay, yeah.
yeah, let's go ahead and say that. You should have 14, I think.
They need it? Oh, okay.
Why?
Wait, do you want ours to short?
Oh, we have 14? I counted 14 when 2 people were in
No, it
here.
wasn't important.
So 2 people are gone.
No, it's not. No, it was something silly.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Tariq's missing. Oh no, Tariq. I'm so confused.
It's fine. We have twice.
Yeah, we have to use it.
Why are you guys got me? That's fine.
I've got
I think I have. Okay, yeah, but it's like you just steps around, you know, the semester and you grind.
Do you have them up?
But no, I just sort of looks bad.
Yeah, I just ran it because it was already in
You're doing really good. No one, honestly, I don't know who you fraction, so yeah. Should be fine though. Oh, thank you. Then you go to class. Did you get something? You were wearing Jordan!
Yeah, Brianna.
I've never seen you wear it.
friendly.
But even since freshman year, I've never seen you wear it. But why are you wearing it now? We're in the down.
I borrowed it from my teacher.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the, hold on, I didn't get my agenda up. Sorry. And welcome to the 14th meeting of Old Dominion University Student Government Association. Today is Tuesday, January 23rd, and the time is 3:07 p.m. On the agenda today, we have the adoption of the agenda, followed by the adoption of the previous minutes, followed by the president's report, followed by quorum, followed by ODUPD report, followed by our guest speaker, Ms. Tracy Daniels, followed by new business, which includes Senate Bill 19, Senate Bill 20, Senate Bill 21, Resolution 8, followed by our contingency, which is contingency 3, followed by executive board reports, the advisory report, reserve seat report, public comments, announcements, and adjournment. Is there a motion on the floor at this time? Yes, Senator Mondre.
I motion to approve the agenda.
There's a motion on the floor to approve the agenda. Is there a second? Is there any opposition? The agenda has been approved. The next order of business is the adoption of the previous minutes. Mr. Chief of Staff, can you please bring up the previous minutes? Thank you. Since the previous minutes were sent out ahead of time, they will not be read aloud today. Are there any questions on the previous minutes? With no questions, the previous minutes have been approved, and now we have the President's report. President Smith.
Good afternoon, everyone. How are you all doing? Good. So first I'm going to start off my report by welcoming a new person to SGA. I will have my bill ready for next week, but I want to introduce to you all my candidate for Public Relations and Recruitment. I'm going to have her come up here and introduce herself to you guys and let her tell you a little bit more about herself. Hannah?
Thanks, I appreciate it. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hannah Barquette, and I am currently a senior at Old Dominion University. I'm majoring in political science and international studies, and sadly, I'm graduating in May. But my concentration is on the Middle East and North Africa. And looking forward to working all together on public relations and recruitment in SGA. We brought like a few more members here today that I'm excited that they plan on joining, and I guess we'll continue to work hard to make the university better. Thanks.
So I met with President Roger today, and one of the points that we discussed was General Assembly Day, which is coming up on Thursday. So for those of you who are going, he just wanted to say thank you so much for doing this on behalf of the university and for the student body. He says he's very proud of all of you, and he's glad that you continually work hard to make the university a better place for our students. And he said near the end of the semester, he's definitely going to want to group up with the people that did go or are planning on going on Thursday to kind of meet up and talk about what they discussed with our delegates and our senators in Richmond. And then just kind of the last thing, again, I mentioned this last week, if you guys are interested in helping Stephen with the pilot program of our Spirit Flags and kind of starting the initiatives of the Spirit Drive on campus, please let either myself or him know. Thank you guys. Have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your week.
Thank you, President Smith. All right, the next order of business is quorum. So right now we have a total of 18 senators who are active, didn't take a leave of absence, which means that quorum is 10, just to keep everybody updated on that. Today we met it at 13. And the next order of business is the ODUPD report.
Is this the SGA meeting?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Guys, I'm extremely honored today. We have a guest, and you all asked us to bring various people here. This is Sergeant Green. He was my supervisor when I had first started at Old Dominion University about 13 years ago. And he saw something in me, and he wanted me to be the officer in charge of his ship. And I said, Sergeant Green, I'm not going to do it. So when he tried to make me do it, I would come to work late so I wouldn't have to be in charge of the ship. He said, Pate, you're going to be in charge of the ship. He said, I see something in you. So he took me, he mentored me, and he molded me. So I am extremely honored to have Sergeant Green today. And he's also one of the persons that's responsible in getting the bad guy that we sent you the bolo out with.
Recent robbery.
Yeah, the recent robbery of the young lady. So what I'm going to do is get him to tell you a little bit about himself and then caveat into how he was instrumental in getting the bad guy and the robbery last week.
Thank you, Officer Pate. Appreciate it. Mr. President, student body, thanks for inviting me. My name is Sergeant Peter Green. I started ODU 2003. I have a degree in political science as well. 12 hours toward my master's. But I graduated from Norfolk State. And I'm not going to tell you the year, I said BC, before computers. But anyway, I started ODU Police Department. I've been in the state system for 27 years. I've been here 15 years. My first year I was here, I was instrumental in getting 15 guns off the campus. That was before the village was here. All the activity was in the, and Mr. Stansbury, I know that was in, all the activity, it was in Powhatan Apartments. But it's been a good 15 years. I think that we made the campus safe for everybody, to walk around and enjoy, since the university is going more pedestrian than traffic, The other night, around on the 16th, I was even a function at ODU. I was working overtime, and I was going home. And I remember a bolo we had out on that robbery suspect that happened, the incident that happened on 49th and Killam. I remember the Bolo. It was a silver blue, two-tone silver and blue, older model vehicle. And miraculously, I just pulled up on it. I was traveling east on Prince Anne Road, got to the light at the intersection of Prince Anne and Tidewater Drive. And there the vehicle was right in front of me. So I notified Detective Jones by way of telephone, and I gave him the license plate number, tag number. We made a right on Tidewater Drive. I followed throughout the city for about 10 minutes, give him information. He was going to meet me out there. We contacted Norfolk to join us. And then once they turned into Young's Terrace, you know, I'm a native of Norfolk, so a lot of police officers got killed and has been murdered in Young's Terrace. But I was still in uniform. I broke away and went home. By that time, Norfolk Police had a vehicle on corner of Church and that one-stop shop on Jimmy Boulevard. And I learned the next day when I came back to work that was a suspect vehicle, and two of the suspects, they confessed to the crime. So, another solved case. That's it. Thank you.
Anybody have any questions of Sergeant Green? Yes, ma'am.
I don't know, I just want to ask, is this a crime of opportunity, or is just they're professionals also, they planned and whoever are vulnerable, they're gonna do it?
Well, every crime is a crime of opportunity because, you know, that crime is presented to the suspect because they're out looking for a particular target. So it was a crime of opportunity. She was walking by herself late at night. Well, I wouldn't consider that late, but do she have a right to walk that time of night? Sure, you know, on city streets without being bothered. So it was a crime of opportunity. They took advantage of the situation, but now they're going to pay for it.
All right, thank you guys. That's a great day.
Thank you. All right. Okay. Oh gosh, my laptop falls asleep. The next order of business is our guest speaker, Ms. Tracy Daniels.
Please excuse my.
Do you want me to hand this out for you?
Going
I can hand it
to the podium. I have some handouts.
Sure.
Here's the policy. Pass this along. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I was telling my colleagues from the police, everyone has so much, you're looking professional, energetic, ready for action. So I promise I will not waste your time, but I hope to get some valuable feedback from you regarding our interim demonstrations policy. And many of you may not know me, but I'm Tracy Daniels, and I actually work with Dr. Ellen Neufeld as her special assistant. I'm also the advisor to the division. That's a long title, but if I were to say my title in a couple of words, would be a big old compliance officer for the division of C's. Just making sure that we're compliant, not only with the letter of the law, but the spirit of the law when it comes to freedom of speech, when it comes to concerns about equity, diversity. I link our division with our University of Counsel's office, our police, our institutional equity office. Anything that pertains to equity, diversity, fairness, when it translates down to the policies, I try my best to have my hand and to provide guidance. I can only do that when I get the feedback and the insight from our students, because ultimately that's what our policies and protocols are tending to serve. So with that being said, let me ask, how many minutes do I have?
Like 15 or less, give or take, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to use my 15 minutes, hopefully wisely, listening more than talking. In fact, I'm going to begin by asking, before you even look at the policy, I'm going to go around the table. in one word, I'm just gonna go, I kind of move around when I talk. When you think of freedom of speech, just give me one word that you think of when you hear freedom of speech. Start with you.
Rights.
Rights.
Straightforward.
Straightforward.
Liberty.
Liberty.
I'd say liberty is okay.
Liberty. So I'm hearing rights, straightforward, liberty.
Rights.
Rights.
Voice.
Voice. Okay.
Constitutional.
Constitutional.
Kind of hard to do one word. Open expression of ideas.
Okay. That sounds like part of the policy right there. Or we need to add it to the policy if you don't see it. Okay.
Be responsible emotion express.
Responsibly. Expression, but we want to be responsible in doing it. Yes.
Like she said, a strong voice.
Strong voice.
Unafraid.
Unafraid, okay.
Voice.
Voice.
First Amendment.
First Amendment, okay. With all that being said, I heard a lot when it comes to your rights. I hear liberty. I hear your responsibility or being responsible in doing so. And of course, freedom of speech. With all that being said, can we agree all of what you said applies whether or not we agree to what's being said? Okay. With that being said, that's what we're trying to capture in the demonstration policy. The first facet of that policy hopefully articulates that we support as an institution your freedom of speech. That's one facet of that policy, honoring your right to speak. One way of speaking would be the form of demonstrations. Now I want to ask you to take just some brief notes just give yourself a minute. If you wanted to demonstrate, and the way the policy describes it, if you wanted to participate in a sit-in, if you wanted to protest, what would you need to know? And just give yourself 2 minutes to jot that down. You don't have to share it with me. Just a few minutes.
Can you just repeat our objective quickly, please? So you want us to write
Just
down?
jot down, if I wanted to demonstrate, if I wanted to protest, what do I need to know to be able to do it? Does anybody need more time? Okay, I like the teamwork right there. Oh. That's good. Okay, the reason why I suggested that you accomplish that task is I want you to use what you said about freedom of speech along with what you would need to know if you wanted to demonstrate to assess the policy itself. Because that's really the second purpose of this policy, is to make clear and plain If you wanted to demonstrate, this is what you would do. And this is what the university would consider in terms of demonstrations. Now I'll use the remainder of my time to just kind of briefly go over the policy itself. Okay? First, I'm going with the first page, and primarily the purpose. And when you review the purpose, it describes our commitment to freedom of speech, and also a policy that states how to engage in orderly demonstrations. So the policy is limited to that particular form of speech. And then it's followed by definitions. And when you look, I believe at the second page, it's an excerpt on symbolic speech. Because not all forms of expression is through words. The policy identifies specific forms of symbolic speech that cannot be permitted because it also violates Virginia law. So it specifically identifies this is why we would not accept that on our campus. Because it's a general principle that freedom of speech should be unencumbered unless it violates a law. And some of you may have even heard of the exceptions to freedom of speech. But what is not an exception is if you're just saying it's because it's hate speech. It's something that's said that's vile or offensive. That alone would not be prohibited speech. However, it would need to fall under a category where it can be expressly prohibited. And that's a for instance, if you will, the forms of symbolic speech that cannot happen. So is everybody clear on that? Okay. Now, in terms of procedures, I would like for you to look at the procedures carefully and identify, and it doesn't have to be now, I'll accept notes, where we might be missing. How can we make it more clear and plain as to, if I did want to demonstrate, what is expected of me? What should I do? And another principle we're trying to get out is that to honor freedom of speech, we allow not only student organizations to reserve space outside of campus, and I'm thinking about the Kaufman Mall, individual students can do that as well. And that's normally, and Dr. Stansbury, you can correct me if I'm wrong, normally it's student organizations that reserve space. But for freedom of speech purposes outside, an individual or an organization can do it. And if we need to make that clearer in the policy, that's something we can definitely note. And also in the procedures, it is intended to describe Dr. Stansbury or designee's role in helping to facilitate orderly demonstrations with the help and the support of our police. And hopefully it provides general guidelines, but it's more general versus specific protocols because a policy wouldn't prescribe to that degree. But hopefully the language talks in a way that a student would understand, okay, the dean is here to help facilitate an orderly demonstration. It's not going to be based on whether or not the dean or designee approves of what I'm saying, but they're here to help facilitate it in terms of making it a meaningful forum where time, place, and manner restrictions are equitably applied. And then there's the concept of if a demonstration gets disorderly, and again, it's more legal versus subjective, Then we will solicit the help of our ODUPD to help maintain order. So that's the goal of the procedures, is to describe, generally speaking, how that works. If I can recall how this was applied more recently, my example would be, and I think it happened, I'm not sure if it happened last fall or before then. It was the Genocide Project. Are you familiar with that? I would say, practically speaking, the policy was in fact followed. And university officials were around not to enforce a view, but just facilitate order and to address any questions. And the police were there as well, without appearing to be intrusive. So that's probably in action what this policy would look like. And with that being said, that's, I think, all I should be sharing within this time frame, but I'm looking forward to your feedback. Did I capture your principles of what freedom of speech mean to you? And did I clearly and plainly express the general protocol, the general policy for the procedure for supporting demonstrations? Now, do you have any questions of me?
Yes. Owen Houghton. So I like everything that you're saying, proponent of huge, free speech and everything. But I'm not quite understanding the purpose. So is this a new policy that the university is hoping to enact in the future? If yes, what's different than the old policy?
Okay, this is a new policy, but it's more in addition right now to what we already have. The motivation behind it was other policies that may speak to freedom of speech, use of space. There are a lot of policies in different areas. So we wanted to pick what would be most meaningful for our students. In demonstrations, and I understand the trend now nationally is towards student activism, but it wasn't necessarily in response to an incident. It was more of an internal auditing. We have freedom of speech said everywhere in certain places, and we practiced this for a while, but we never said it out loud, what we do to accommodate freedom of speech in this form. It was just something that just wasn't said.
Thank you.
I do have one. Okay, so going on to this freedom of speech, like if there were like demonstrations like the one over the summer in Charlottesville, like would we be able? Yeah. Yes, that's wrong. Would we like stop, or like would we not have, or would we have like, would we tell them that they can't have that here, or would we like allow them to come?
Here's what my cautious answer would be. My cautious answer would be, we would first assess the safety in having it in the way they had it on campus. And that goes to time, place, or manner. I've even heard dialogue in Dr. Stansberry. Okay, would they really be at the TED? He's saying what they needed to say. So I think it would be strategically addressing, and this is where it's more of really a strategy think tank between us and the police and academic affairs as to how do we balance the interests of freedom of speech with that of safety. Because I've even heard comments based on what happened in Charlottesville, just, wait a minute, that couldn't really happen here. It might have been a different result. So keeping that in mind, and I've also been in conversations where, okay, if we were to have this, more funds may need to be allotted to ensure safety, and our ODUPD may need to partner with our local police. So really, I think it centers around It might be the spirit of that protest, but the protest may not even look like that at ODU based on a determination of what's safe and what we can do legally to support freedom.
I have a question coming off of that. So it says in here the Dean of Students will be there as like a guidance to talk to beforehand. Is that just like a guidance, or are they really gonna help? So in the instance that they were that he was mentioning about, you mentioned it happening at the TED. Would Dean of Students be the role into say like maybe not have it there, have it somewhere else? Like, is it a place in that instance? For that the Dean of Students can change, help change the location, or is it still in the freedom of speech that the group, organization, or student can still have it? It's just a guidance, or is it really like what is the role?
I think I see the dean's role. We might need to specify that a bit more, describing more the dean, how that person facilitates the forum. But if there are safety concerns, maybe we need to add language in advance what considerations are taken into account before we say we can authorize you and approve you to be here but not necessarily there for safety reasons. So what I'm hearing might need more language clarity as to the dean's role and perhaps safety interests as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
And Tracy, here's another example where during the election we were approached by both candidates to come to campus and speak during the last presidential election, on both Republican and Democrats. Logistically we couldn't pull it off because they wanted to be here on a Tuesday or a Thursday. What's the busiest day of our campus? Tuesday or Thursday, right? So, and to do it, we would have had to shut down parking lots, secure the area, and so the institution made a decision. We wouldn't allow either candidate to come to campus and speak because we couldn't maintain normal operations for our institution. So that wasn't my decision as the dean of students, but if students came forward, I would work with those students for them to understand that. But the institution, as Tracy talks, we're always going to talk about safety, your safety, both sides of safety. That is paramount in everything that we do. The idea of having the dean of students as the university's official that's managing this program is that to not have the police be the point of contact unless they necessarily need to be at that point, and that the dean of students can navigate some things on the campus differently than you can as a student. So if, Michelle, your group was sponsoring an event and you really wanted to have it and said, we can't do Kaufman Mall, but we could do the quad. Does the quad work with you? And then we would work together to do some logistics that way. So that's really the role of the contact for our students really is in my role, or the dean of students, or myself, or it's Tracy, or whoever within our division, and we have a designee. But when we were making those big decisions of like who's coming, there's going to be several of us around the table. I would be there as representing, here's what the students want to do and why. We're mostly going to say yes. 99% of the time, we get a request, we're going to say yes to a speaker, right, or someone that wants to come. Those exceptions, or parameters will be, how do we ensure safety? How do we not disrupt the educational mission of the institution? Some of those logistical things. But we will explore, as a marketplace of ideas, as an institution, ways to bring those opinions to our campus. Whether we agree or not, it's still, we are a public institution. Students, as you all just talked about, as Tracy had you go around, the rights of First Amendment, free speech, all of those things. So we will explore, but safety will always be where we start, right? So that's why you'll see police at an event, but we wouldn't necessarily have the police officer come up to you and say, how's it going? They might do that, but one of our staff members would be there. Like when we had the Genocide Project, we had a staff member out there all times to watch and answer questions for students. Why is this event here? Who would sponsor this? Why are they allowed to be here? To be able to help students understand why that happens. So it's a little bit of both, but really it's the, I'm not the safety decision maker or the one that's going to be the magic wand. We're going to be the liaison to a larger group that's going to have to make some decisions.
Okay.
Are there any further questions for our guest speaker? Yep. Thank you, Ms. Stevens. Okay. Yes. Okay, the next order of business is our new business, starting with Senate Bill 19, the SGA bylaws reconstruction. Will the chief sponsor of this bill please come forward? Oh.
Hello, everyone. So, this is the last one. This is it. I don't have a PowerPoint or anything. All this is doing is moving some articles around so that the amendments article comes last like it should. And it just pushes the other articles that were added after it up one. So all that ends up happening is one article becomes Article 8, and everybody else falls in line with that as well. No other changes were made, just that. And then you don't have to see me do this anymore. I promise. This is it. So that's all I got.
Okay. Are there any questions for our chief sponsor? No? Okay. Thanks, Ron. Okay, no questions for the chief sponsor of this bill. Is there a motion on the floor at this time? Yes, Senator Terry.
Motion to move this bill to second reading status. Second reading status.
Yep, there's a motion on the floor to move this bill to second reading status. Is there a second? Is there any opposition? Okay, this bill is now in second reading status. Okay, next order of business, Senate Bill 20, the Killam traffic signs. Will the chief sponsor of this bill please come forward?
Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. So the primary concern behind this bill, so moving to Norfolk from Newport News, what you notice is there are a lot of cars that are parked on the sides of the roads. And living off campus, being an off-campus student, one thing that I quickly realized was that because of those cars that are parked on the side of the road, oftentimes when I'm crossing, when I decide to drive to campus, it's very hard to see incoming traffic due to those parked cars obstructing your view, essentially. So I decided to put this into legislation. But given its current form, I had a conversation with Jawan, and so I think it's best if we end up tabling this bill back to committee, because there are a few additions and a few things that need to be changed. One of which being it's listed as Senate bill, whereas it should be listed as a resolution and not as a bill. So yeah, I think it's best if we table this bill back to committee for a week. Will be discussed, and any proposed amendments should be made.
Are there any questions for the chief sponsor of this bill? Yes. So that also basic questions? Please
It's
stay.
not a question, it's a motion, so.
Okay, questions first. Yes, Senator Mondre.
Question for you is
Oh, and stay up here.
is the only thing that you'd like to take, like if we tabled it, the only thing you'd like to change is the Senate bill number, like that?
That, and also I would like to solicit input from you guys and from my committee as well. So
To add more information to the bill?
to add or subtract.
Okay.
Senator Alt. Question?
So wouldn't street
Please
signs?
stand up.
Oh, sorry. Wouldn't street signs and traffic signs be more of like a city issue rather than the campus?
Yeah,
Or-
so that's also something that Joanne and I discussed. So if we do this, if we, student body does decide to go ahead and pass this bill, then we would go through, or pass a resolution when it does get changed, and we'll go through the proper channels to have meetings with the city of Norfolk or whoever that person of contact would be, to recommend that we, as a body, do recommend that this is what needs to be done. So whether it's, whatever the proper channels would be, we would essentially follow and go through with that, yeah.
Questions still?
Yes.
Okay, yes, on.
Okay, so just for clarity, are you saying that if we do decide to table this bill, that when you edit it, instead of ODU creating the traffic sign, it would be a thing where it's ODU would send a letter to the city of Norfolk to create the traffic sign, or are you still saying that ODU would create it?
So it would be the student body, so it would be the student body, you guys, myself, we all recommend that the city of Norfolk, so whoever that transportation person is. I don't remember their name off the top of my head. It would come as a recommendation from everybody in this room currently that this is what needs to be done.
Thank you.
Are there any further questions for the chief sponsor of this bill? Thank you. Okay, if no further questions for the chief sponsor, is there a motion on the floor at this time? Yes, Senator Acevedo.
I motion to table this bill to next week.
Back to committee?
Yes, back to committee.
Okay. There's a motion on the floor to table this bill back to committee for 1 week. Is there a second? Is there any opposition? Okay, this bill has been tabled. Okay, next order of business is Senate Bill 21, the bike rental overdue notice. Will the chief sponsor of this bill please come forward?
Okay, so this bill is pretty straightforward. So usually, if you're in the library and you rent a calculator, for example, and if that calculator or laptop, charger, whatever is overdue, you'd get an email. Usually not a phone call, but you'd get an email from whoever it is in the library saying that your item is overdue and you're going to be charged such and such amount until you turn it in. I get bikes on a weekly basis from the SRC, and one time my charges accumulated to $12 without my knowledge. We're students, we all have busy lives, whether it's studying, some of us work jobs, blah, blah, blah. And there is no current process for them to contact you to let you know when your bike is overdue. So this is just very straightforward. They'll start to send emails or phone calls, and on the first occasion, if that email or phone call isn't made, it's $4 per day. I'm just asking that $4 fee per day be forgiven just for the first time, given that they contact you after that first time.
Are there any questions on the floor for our chief sponsor? Yes, Senator Mondre.
This is going through the Outdoor Adventure Center, correct?
Yes, the Outdoor Adventure Center does the bike rentals.
Have you talked to them on their willingness to do this with you? Have you talked to them at all?
No, I have not.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Wait, this should be a resolution.
This should also probably be a resolution.
Yeah, okay, never mind.
So should we table it so you can talk to them? Let's change it. Okay.
That's an amendment.
Okay, so we can just amend this to make it a resolution, but it should also be a resolution. Yes, Senator Darwood.
Can I make the amendment to change it from a resolution instead of a Senate bill?
You Senate bill to a resolution?
Yeah.
Got it, yes. There's a motion on the floor to change this from Senate Bill 21 to Resolution 9. Thank you. I'm glad you're on top of that. Resolution 9. Is there a second? Is there any opposition? Okay, Mr. Chief of Staff, can you please make that present? Are there any other motions on the floor at this time? No? Oh, Senator Terry.
Motion to table this bill back to committee until the chief sponsor and co-sponsors talk to the proper channels at the Student Rec Center.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor to table this bill until communication has been made to the Outdoor Adventure Center. Is there?
There's no time frame on. I apologize. There's no time frame on that, so I was wondering if you could get a time frame.
Give him a deadline.
Time frame 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay.
Point of order.
Yes.
For us to make resolutions, we don't always have to talk to our constituents. We can make this, we can pass this or send it to second reading status without talking to them and just affirm that this is what we want.
Okay. Senator Terry.
Just my motion was just on the grounds that this is actually probably bigger for them than we realize. It involves money, so I feel like we should talk to the proper channels just to make sure that this is something that
Might I suggest
we're
a
allowed.
debate so you guys can discuss whether or not you need them to?
Please do that.
Senator Mondre, did you have a? Senator Mondre.
I'd like to enter into a 3-minute debate.
Okay. There's a motion on the floor to enter a 3-minute debate. Is there a second? Is there any opposition? Okay. Mr. Speaker, can you please put 3 minutes on a timer for me? Thank you. And Michelle, you have the floor first.
What I was saying with this is I think this is a great idea. I don't think we need when we make resolutions, just because we make it doesn't mean that it's going to happen. It's just saying that we are affirming and agreeing with the rest of the student body that this is something that we want and we need. I think that we should go through and have it in second reading status and like make it go forward, but still continue to talk with our constituents. Just because I think it's a great idea and we should keep it moving forward.
Senator Terry.
I just wanted, I guess, the chief sponsor and the co-sponsor just to talk to the Student Rec Center and that office, mostly because this is, if we want this to actually happen, we can pass a resolution, sure, but if we want it to actually happen, we need to communicate with the university, with the Student Rec Center. It does involve money, so I feel like that $4 may be insignificant to us as an amount, but it may be very significant to them. So I feel like that they should talk to proper channels before we send this to second reading status or.
Speaker for Temple One.
I think that this bill should be tabled back to committee only because I don't think any surveys have been done from a committee, and I think it's wonderful that we as senators and as a student government want this, but if no surveys have been done, we don't have any like tangible data or statistics to say that the student body wants this. So it's important that we go out to our constituents that we represent and do surveys and ask questions like that, so we can actually say when we take it to administration that this is truly what the student body wants. It's unfair for us to be constituents and to assume that this is what they want, because we haven't really done any surveys to know that this is what they truly want.
Yes, Senator Hahn.
Well, let's find out from the student body. What do you guys what do you guys think? Is it fair for us to get charged a $4 fee every day if you rent an item, and then without your knowledge you're being charged to your account?
No, that's not fair.
Okay. That's not fair?
No, I don't think that's fair. I think they should be able to notify us whenever we're getting charged, and they should, like you said, on the first day, they should take away the charge or
forgive it.
Forgive it, right.
Okay. Anybody else?
Vice President Hamlin.
I just want to say that there is a way for you guys to keep the bill moving forward and it's not stagnant, because it is a week that a bill can be, that's on the floor. And if you come to a resolution before next week, you can table the bill or indefinitely or kill the bill. So you can both things can happen within a week. Does that make
Senator
sense?
Montrose.
With that being, that's what I was saying beforehand. Like, I think we could pass this bill to second reading status, but still.
Debate's over.
Just finish.
Can I finish one? Pass it to second reading status, but still continue to survey and back that up for it to be for next week. And then if next week, if we still decide, then we can still table it, but just so we can move the bill forward.
Okay, with the debate being over, is there another motion on the floor at this time?
I just have a point of information. Or
Yes, point of information.
question, whatever. Just a question. But when you're renting the bike, I never rented a bike or item, anything from ODU. Is there a contract that you have to sign or within that nature?
Yeah, so there, for renting the bike, there's a video that you have to read and a contract that you have to sign.
Okay, within that contract, does it state that you have, if you pass due over the day that you rented the bike, is there a fee? Is that in the contract?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Okay, is there a motion on the floor at this time? Yes, Senator Hall.
I'd like to make a motion to end debate and send this bill back to committee for another week.
Okay, debate's already been ended, and because you are the chief sponsor, you can't do that. So sit down. Is there another motion? Senator Mondre.
I motion to move this bill to second reading status.
There's a motion on the floor to move this bill to second reading status. Is there a second? Is there any opposition? Okay, with opposition, we will, is it rising hand vote?
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna take a rising hand vote. So all in favor of moving this bill to second reading status, please raise your hand nice and high for me. All opposed? Okay, with 9 nays and 2 yays, this motion dies. Is there another motion on the floor at this time? Yes, Senator Terry.
Motion to table this bill for 2 weeks.
There's a motion on the floor to table this bill for 2 weeks. Is there a second? Is there any opposition? With opposition, we will take a rising hand vote. All in favor of tabling this bill back to committee for 2 weeks, please raise your hand. Okay, all opposed? Okay, with 8 nays and 6 yeas, this motion also dies. Is there another motion on the floor this time? Yes, Senator Garber.
A motion to table this bill for 1 week to its committee.
There's a motion on the floor to table the bill back to committee for 1 week. Is there a second? Is there any opposition? Okay, this bill has been tabled back to committee for 1 week. Whew, all right, guys, that was crazy. Okay. Next order of business is Resolution 8, the SRC towel service. Will the chief sponsor of that bill please come forward at this time?
So this is Resolution 8, the towel service. Before, when Chris had originally started working on this last semester, there were no towels available at the student rec center for students, all students, and I guess faculty and staff that go to the rec center. Couldn't wipe off all the sweat that you have, whatever, couldn't do whatever. So we've been working hard to push this initiative within the rec center. Any questions? Yes.
Okay. So first, as for these towels, if this bill or resolution, if this resolution is passed, as for like the process, is there a process of the towels? Like, will they be washed or will you throw them away? Like, how does that go?
Yes, so that was actually the biggest problem that the rec center had with the towels was the extra electricity, I guess, and energy that it would take to wash all the towels and continuously wash them. But we got over that hump. I guess what's going to happen is they're going to charge $1 to rent the towel, and that way that'll kind of offset some of the costs that it will take to wash them.
Okay, so you're being charged, is it being charged to the student account or you're being charged $1 like per use? Like, is it charged per semester or is it $1 per towel?
Yeah, I think there's the proposal that was also attached in there.
We'll just bring it home.
We didn't get the proposal.
We did not send that email.
Because on the zip thing was $2.
Oh, yeah, it was an email. Just waiting.
So if you scroll, keep scrolling, survey. Oh, yep. So it'll be $1 per day, $10 for the semester, and those are the options. And I think that they're doing the $1 for day one, and they're also doing a semester charge. I'm not exactly sure if that $10 is correct off the top of my head, but there is a semester charge for it.
Okay, so last question. So is this an optional service? Like, do students have to pay for this if they choose to use the SRC? Or, like, it's optional. If they want to use the towel, they could? Because you know how, like, on our student account, there are certain things that we're being charged for that not everyone uses. So I just want to make sure that I have the entire clarity of this.
That's a good question. I am fairly certain that it's optional. I don't think that they have to go and rent the towels at all. So
Okay, just make
it's
sure.
optional.
That's it.
Okay, are there any further questions? Yes, Senator Margaret.
There was a survey done about this, is that correct?
Yes.
Can you give the details of the survey?
Director Boss has most of the details of the survey, but I can tell you that there was an overwhelming consensus that towels would be nice. I know I saw a tweet the other day that the student had been putting in the suggestion box that they should have towels for as long as she's been here. So the student body does want it.
Are there any further questions for our chief sponsor? Thank you, Senator Terry. Okay, with no further questions, is there a motion on the floor at this time? Yes, Cindy.
So I move to make a friendly amendment to edit line 16.
Say what? to say spring 2017. Can you scroll down to line 16? So where it says spring 2018. You want to say spring 2018, so like right now. Okay, there's a motion on the floor to change, whereas the teleservice will be implemented in the fall semester of 2018, to say the spring semester of 2018. Is there a second?
Point of information.
Point of order.
Order.
Point of information, yes.
We're making that resolution or amendment just because that the tile service has already started. So.
Okay. Okay, so there's a motion on the floor to amend this bill to say in the spring semester of 2018. Is there a second?
Point of order.
Yes.
I think we're all confused. So if the service has already started, we're questioning amongst ourselves the need for
The resolution.
this resolution.
Yes, Don.
Service has not started. So before the service can start, there's two steps to this. This has to pass through you, and then because it's a student fee, it has to then be approved by the president's office. So the service will start if you all recommend it, and then the president signs off on this. Okay, so we can't just arbitrarily put student fees on students' bills or say that something's going to start. So I think maybe what the change was because Director Doss started this in fall, or does he want to wait to start it in the fall? I don't know, and get all the logistics out. Right. So I think that could be what we are not offering towels currently.
Point of information.
Correct. Also, point of order after my second point. Okay, so Don, you just said that like it's going to be a student fee. So is it still optional or is it a fee added onto an account?
No. So great question.
Yeah.
So it is optional. Right?
Okay.
But we can't just arbitrarily as the administration make up a fee to charge you all. It has to be approved. So it's a fee to use it, but every student doesn't have to use it. Right. So
Okay.
you opt in. So if you on the proposal that he did, there was if you already get a locker, then and you want to get a towel, it goes up like $10 or something. Or so you go to the gym and you forgot your towel and you wanted to get it just for that day, you could get it for $1. So, but it's all optional, and the only people that will get them are people that have paid the fee. And so the reaction, we talked about, can we do this for free? Right? But the research shows that when they were doing it for free, people were abusing the service. They weren't returning the towels, and so they were constantly having to replace the towels, and it was just this added cost. And so then ultimately your rec fee goes up, and so we don't want to do that. So for folks that want it, we wanted to give them that. If you all decide we want to give them as an option. If you all don't think it's a great idea, tell them, because honestly this is work for the rec center, because we are now doing laundry, which we do laundry, but we will be doing more laundry. But that's where it came from.
Thank you, Don. Okay, so there is still a motion on the floor to edit line 16 to say in the spring semester of 2018. Is there a second? Is there any opposition? Okay, because there is opposition to change line 16, we're going to take a rising hand vote. All in favor of changing line 16 to say in the spring semester of 2018, please raise your hand. One? Okay. All opposed? You guys are not voting. Everybody in favor of editing line 16 to say spring semester, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3.
You get to ask for your abstains.
Abstentions.
Right. All opposed? Abstains? Okay. With 3 abstains, 3 nays, and... Oh crap, how many nays were there? Oh crap, I forgot. Sorry. There's like 3, right? Did this tie it? Sorry, I'm sorry guys, that's on me. All in favor? Okay, so there was 3. Oh man, that was a 3-way tie.
No, there was 4.
There's no way.
There's no.
Oh, so fine, was your hand raised? Oh, okay, that was 4. Okay, so therefore we're changing this to say spring semester of 2018. This motion is passed.
Point of order.
Yeah.
So line 12, it says daily 1, which is correct. Semesterly 15 on the proposal it said 10. Annually it says 35 on the proposal it said 40.
Senator Terry.
Yes. So that was the option 1. If you pull up a proposal, it says option 1, option 2, option 3, and that was just the proposal. When Director Boss met with the people, they went over it and logistics were changed on it. So it's changed to 15.
Any more motions on the floor at this time?
Point of information?
Yes.
Can we still...
Point of inquiry.
Point of inquiry. It's a question.
Yeah,
Point of inquiry. Are we still allowed to ask the chief sponsor questions, or is it like?
No.
No.
Unless you open a debate.
No, not anymore. It's for past.
Yeah. Any more motions on the floor at this time? Let's see, reading status, for example. Is there a motion on the floor at this time? Senator Simpson.
I move that this bill be sent to second reading status.
There's a motion on the floor to move this bill to second reading status. Is there a second? Is there any opposition? Okay, with opposition, we will now have to take a rising hand vote. All in favor of moving this bill to second reading status, please raise your hand. Okay. Okay. All opposed? Any abstains? Okay, with 2 abstains, 3 nays, and 8 yeas, this bill is now on second reading status. Okay. All right, the next order of business is contingency 3. Yes, will the chief sponsor of the bill please come forward?
So the international
Wait,
student.
sorry, pause. 420 classes can leave. Yeah. Keep going.
They requested $1,000 for their event for catering, which is on February 2nd, and we plan to allot them the full $1,000 for their catering request. And at this time, I will turn the floor to the representative from their organization so they can explain to you what their event is.
Good evening. My name is Grace, and I'm an international graduate student and also the Vice President for the International Student Christian Fellowship. So as an organization, we try to connect with the international students right from the start, right from when they come in to the country, to help them adjust with the new culture and the environment. And also throughout the journey, we organize different activities and events to help them, create the friendly atmosphere and try to be a family for them, from away from home. So as an organization, what we majorly focus on is to organize events and activities where, as international students, how we can connect to the community outside. So we organize different food drives, and we organize activities to to serve food to the homeless community, and we organize tutoring events for the kids from the homeless shelters. And so we are planning to start a new event or a new activity where we are trying to help with the refugee settlement in Hampton Roads. And so to launch all these events, we are planning to have an International Cultural Night on the 2nd of February. That's next Friday. And so we are trying to connect with the different cultural organizations, like the international groups on campus, to have events where they can showcase their cultural pride, and also provide an opportunity to the new international students to network and to build their friendship with the different cultures at ODO. And we are also taking this opportunity to promote the future events that we are planning. And so it's kind of like a relaunch event for the organization. So we're expecting an attendance of around 400 people, and we are planning to provide free food. And so we have got a quote from Monarch Catering for around $3,000, and just to start up, we are really relying on SGA to approve this contingency request so that we can actually go forward with the event.
Okay, are there any questions for the chief sponsor of this bill or the representative from the organization at this time? Any questions? No? Okay, thank you guys. All right, so everybody got your clickers. Did you switch over from me, Tyler? Clicker time.
Go get one. Go get one.
Okay, so, oh wait, what's happening? Hold on. What just happened? Did you guys already vote, or is this popping up stuff?
A point of inquiry. The bill does not have a number on it, so we can't pass it unless it has a number on it.
Sorry, so it's on a different version of it, just not the one that got sent out. It is on it in like the Google Drive though, yeah. Promise, it's contingency 3. Also, it's not actually a bill, it's a contingency, so it has a different set of rules now. Because we passed that one bill.
It said Senate though, so.
It's a contingency. Alright, hold on, this thing's being weird. You know what? We're just gonna take a rising hand vote because this thing's not ideal. Okay, so all in favor of passing this bill, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All opposed? Any abstains? With 1 abstain and 12 yeas, this bill clearly passes. Sorry, contingency. Okay, good job today, guys. The next order of business is the executive board reports, beginning with our vice president.
Good afternoon, guys. That was an interesting debate that you had with that little decision. But so the SGA Winter Retreat is next week. So if you haven't paid yet, it's Friday. It's the deadline. I'll send out the packing list this afternoon, like around 2-ish, before Senate. I know I said Thursday, but you know things happen. But that's it for me, and then I'm gonna give Steven's report really quickly. Last week he met with the RHA meeting and discussed co-sponsoring town hall again this semester. He has Dining Appreciation Day set for March 15th. He will have a meeting with the director of dining next week to work out all the details. His committee is currently working on a t-shirt design for Dining Appreciation Day. He's meeting with Susan Boyd this Thursday to talk about virtual tours for incoming freshmen, or I guess transfer students. He has been in contact with Nicole Kiger and Tisha Benjamin about getting the banners on Kaufman that we talked about last semester. He'll be reaching out to Scott Silsdorf, for the director of parking and transportation, working on a letter to city council or the city of Norfolk about changing the road signs to ODU colors around campus. And then he's also going to set up a meeting with Scott about a quad forum for their parking situation. That's it.
Thank you, President. Okay, next report. Mo is not here. Next report. Report this week.
No.
Okay. Next report. It's me. Okay. All right. So, couple things. Number 1, we're wearing polos next week. I hope you guys wear them today, but next week. And I also want to remind everybody that at the minimum, the dress code is business casual, which means no jeans, but I would prefer business professional. Also, no phones, because some people have phones out today. And you guys can have your laptops. Like, not that many people have them, but like, you are allowed to have those. Also, answer my email. There's still like 3 people that haven't done it. I'm getting increasingly annoying, so I think eventually you need to just do it. Also, fun fact of the week. Thank you. The fun fact this week is a quote from Mr. Henry M. Robert, where there's no law, but every man does what is right in his own eyes, there is the least of real liberty. Think about that one. It's on the board. Nice report for me, thank you. Juwan, do you report this week?
I do.
Thank you.
What's up, guys?
Hey.
That was a nice debate. I enjoyed it. I was just telling Senator here today, I was like, we never debate. I really wish we would have a debate, and then boom. Okay, so thank you guys who filled out the doodle that I sent out last week. So I got a majority of Senate to respond. So the legislation workshop is going to be January 31st, which is next Wednesday, from 3:30 to 5:30. The location is to be announced. I thought I would get something reserved in the web, and it was all full. So I'm gonna email you guys who said you could come later in the week with a finalized location. If you have not yet filled out the doodle but can attend, let me know. If you cannot attend, also let me know because I'm definitely willing to meet with you or give you the PowerPoint so you can have access to it. All right, that's it. Have a great day, guys.
Thanks so much. Julian, do you report this week?
No report.
Awesome. Do you have a report?
Yes. Hey everybody.
Hey.
So my committee met yesterday, and one of the points of standards that we were focusing on was a professional development session. So we are deciding to offer a professional development session to student organizations, and it's going to be called the Legacy Series. The whole point of the session is to give student orgs the resources they need to leave a proper legacy on campus. So the event will be held March 22nd, 2018 at 7 p.m. and we're trying to get the North Cave, so I'll let you guys know exactly where the location is next week. So if you know anybody that you think will be a good speaker for this event, we're looking for some people to speak for 5 to 7 minutes. We have an acronym for legacy, so we'll need someone to speak for each acronym. So it's leadership, engagement, goal setting, activities, connection, and what is your why. What is your why means what is your purpose. So if you want to recommend anybody to speak for one of those, please let me know. And that's it.
Thank you, Director Lucas. Ralph, your report? Yes. Excellent.
Okay, good afternoon. So SG is having this finance Q&A day next Tuesday, which is the 30th. Yeah, January 30th. So it's from 11:30 to 2. We're gonna have it like in South Mall, and we're gonna have like giveaways and pizza. And organizations and like students in general can just come and ask questions about budgets or consultations if they need to. So Karen's gonna be passing out a sign-up sheet. If you guys could help set up and serve, that'd be great. Also, I'm gonna have an update on the 50% rule next week. And one last thing, because I expect all the SGA representatives to know this. When is the budget submission deadline?
It's April.
Wow.
It's definitely in February.
Is it really?
Wow.
Oh, not
It's either the
the-
2nd or the 9th.
The 2nd. No?
It's not the
3
second.
weeks from Friday.
It's like February 6th or something?
No, it's February 9th. February 6th is a budget party.
Oh.
So yeah, you were kind of close.
I have my date. I don't even
Oh, guys. Okay.
I think I'm the last person who probably should know that, but that's it.
I did something.
Dr. Wesley is not here. Does she have a report though? Yeah.
Okay. Hi everybody, so on behalf of Jamila, Carlos and I will be talking about General Assembly Day, which is on Thursday. For those of you who are attending, we are leaving at 6 a.m.
6 a.m. Yes.
Yeah.
In the VIP lot.
Okay, you want to go?
Okay. First, we're going to talk about a little bit of the history of the General Assembly. The Virginia General Assembly is the legislative body for Virginia. It's the oldest continuous lawmaking body in the U.S., beginning in 1619. The General Assembly was held in Jamestown until 1699, and then in Williamsburg, and then in Richmond. Sorry. The purpose of the GA is to establish laws and policies for the state. Did you want to do the numbers?
Let's talk numbers. So the VAGA consists of two parts. The lower house consists of House of Delegates, which is 100 members. The upper house consists of the Senate with 40 members. The House of Delegates is presided over by the Speaker of the House, while the Senate is presided over by the Lieutenant Governor. So the state delegate is Stephen Heretic, and the state senator is Linwood W. Lewis Jr. and
should
the
be
U.S.
Bobby
Congress.
Scott.
Yep. So advocating.
The priority for this specific legislative session is to retain funds for operation and financial aid, as well as promoting wages for professors here.
So now let's talk attire. We do have a couple of, we have a dress code for GA Day for those of you who are attending. So we wanted to keep it with black pants, slacks, and just like a nice button-up shirt if you have any. What else does this say? She will be sending out an email soon just to let you guys know. More than likely tonight she'll be emailing everyone who is attending to let you know all the things that you need, and also like a small little pamphlet of information.
That should be it.
That's it? Oh, and yeah, if you emailed your pullover size, she'll be passing those out as well. And your spot has been reserved. So, Thursday morning, 6 a.m. in the VIP lot. Be there or be square. That's about it.
Thank you guys.
Last year we had like a list of like speaking points. I know you guys mentioned 2. Is there any more, and will that be in the email coming out?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
I've seen the draft. The email will be in your inbox tonight. Yeah.
Okay.
Senator.
What time are we getting back? 10:30?
She said around like before 3. Around that time. Yeah. Yes.
Any signed letters for our professors excusing our absences?
That should be included in the email.
Yeah, she will send them out tonight, and they will be included in the email, so that you can forward to your professor. Anything else?
Any more questions? No. Okay. Thank you guys. Director Cunningham, do you report this week? This report's already read. Advisors, does anybody have anything?
Just want to, real quick, so GA is going to be a little weird on Thursday in that we're doing renovation at the Capitol, so we're in a different building, so it's a little more chaotic, so just be patient. You have talking points. The biggest thing that we want to make sure that you walk away from this is that you have a positive interaction with the legislators. They may ask you, are you in my district? So if you don't know who your representative is, you can go on the website, put your zip code in, and it will tell you, so then you can answer, oh yes, you are, or no, you're not. And many of them will ask you that. We have a lot of alumni that are also up there, so you'll get to meet them. This is extremely important for the university, and we've been doing it for many years. And it just, a name with a face and a friendly handshake goes a long way. So you all will do a great job representing us. But just know that it's going to be a little bit different just because of the construction. So just have fun with it. But if you have to go around some construction, you're used to that because we're always building on campus anyway. But just know that's going to happen to you.
Anything else from the advisors? No? Okay. So, real quick, we actually skipped wellness and sustainability, and Chris has a report, and then you can go. Does that work? Okay.
Just one quick.
Wait, yeah, go for it.
So we did have the blood drive last Tuesday. That's why I wasn't in the Senate. I was volunteering. Thank you to all who donated blood or helped volunteer there. Our goal was 38. We had 43 people sign in and 39 usable bags of blood. So we accomplished our goal. So thank you.
Yeah, do you want to come give your report now? Okay.
All right, I'm back. So really quickly for the elections, the candidate application closes in a week. So for those of you who were nominated, I sent out an email. Can you apply sometime before the 31st? And the candidate presentation will be held on February 6th. So in Senate, I will be presenting like the candidates on a PowerPoint presentation just so that everyone knows exactly who they are, what they're running for, their platform, things of that nature. Also, the informational will be held tomorrow. It will be held tomorrow from 5 to 6:30. Anyone is welcome to attend. There will be food and things of that nature. However, it is required and mandatory for the candidates to attend. If you cannot attend, please send me an email or let me know, and I'll just have like a separate meeting with you, but I need all of y'all to be there. Okay. It will be held in the Owls of White room from 5 to 6:30 tomorrow. I'll send it again on the group chat. And also, just a quick little minor change is that the debate will be held on February 13th, and the second one will be held on February 22nd from 5 to 6 in this room. So, yeah, that's all I have. But if you have any questions, yes?
Will the candidate presentation be made public to all the students?
Yeah, so I'm gonna post the announcement and flyer tonight. After this. Yes.
Can you say the dates again for the debates? It's February 13th and 22nd.
Yeah, so it's the February 13th and the 22nd. So in the bylaws, it states that all candidates are required to be there. However, if you can't be there because of class, I understand. And we'll just have somebody point out answer the questions, like on your behalf or something. We'll work with it, yeah. But any more questions? No? Okay, that's it.
Thank you, Ryan. Okay, next is our reserve seat report. Brian, report? Nope. Ashley, report? Nope. Will, taking leave of absence. Annie's not here today. Neither is Giselle. Okay. Thank you. Any public comments or announcements at this time? Yes, Senator Hahn.
Turning Point USA, ODU College Democrats and ODU College Republicans hosting an event tomorrow called Debatables, which will be the first in a series of different topics they're debating. I believe tomorrow's is on gun policy. It's going to be in the Future Monarch Room at 8 p.m. tomorrow. So right after the information session, I want to see everybody there.
Any
Where's
more?
the location?
The Future Monarch.
The Future, yes, in the web.
Okay.
Where is that?
Any more public comments or announcements? Senator Mondre.
This is just like to senators, when you like go up to present your legislation, could you like try to add in like all of the information? I know like today we had a lot of questions, and also we could have used caucus for that time. Like we were talking a little bit, but I mean we weren't talking, if you're the chief sponsor of the bill, like you should go to everyone and say like, do you have questions about my bill? Or like, hey, like I just want to let you know this is like what's going on. Like we should be using our caucus time for that. And then also when you go to present your bill, I think you should add like all the information. Don't go up there unless you have all of it, because it was really difficult to ask questions if you didn't know, and then we were going back and forth, and that's so if you could just add more information.
Yes, Mr. Vice President.
So my chapter, the Omicron Outer chapter of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, is having an event tonight and Thursday. Tonight is the Blue Book, Know Your Resources. It's basically targeting freshmen in Gresham Hall or Gresham Main community room to like just know their resources on campus and to like get them acclimated, I guess. And then on Thursday, this is open to like basically everyone. We're having a battle of the sexes in Scotland House. So just come out and support and participate. Have fun.
Okay, any more public comments or announcements at this time? No? Okay. So today on the agenda, we had the adoption of the agenda, followed by the adoption of the previous minutes, followed by the president's report, followed by quorum, which we met at 13, followed by the ODPD report, followed by our guest speaker, Ms. Tracy Daniels, on protest, followed by new business, including Senate Bill 19, which was tabled Senate Bill 19, which was moved to second reading status, Senate Bill 20, which was tabled for a week, Senate Bill 21, the bike rental overdue notice, which was also tabled for a week, followed by the resolution 8, followed by our contingency 3, the ICSF contingency, which was passed, followed by the executive board reports, the advisory report, the reserve seat report, public comments, announcements, and now is there a motion on the floor at this time? Senator Terry.
Motion to adjourn.
There's a motion on the floor to adjourn. Is there a second? Is there any opposition? We are now adjourned.
What day was it about?
January 25th. Ooh, I didn't
That's okay.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Return your clickers.
Yeah, I was gonna sign up. So just put my name down.
They were like a test.
There's no date. Are you gonna be
I got it. I was making an application for today, but I really feel like it. Sign
Whose business is this?
I'll let you know. We got some business.
Yeah, to make like a Google form, that's what I did.
If you have a clicker, it should be over here by now. Go.
What's with the face?
Let's go.
Do not forget to turn in your name, please.
My iPhone came as the meeting was starting. Do you hear my phone playing music right now?
They will Charles literally never showed up.
I'm here right
I think I've only missed like 2 or 3 centimeters the entire year.
I know you have
I'll be there. I'll be there.
That's fine.
Yeah, I just wanted.
Okay, cool. So you're alright, cool. We'll talk more. Oh yeah, that'll be in the office.
Isaiah.
Yeah, okay, because I'm working on legislation about that, and I wanted to ask you, I really want to be a part of it.
Is February 13th a Tuesday? Is February 22nd a Thursday?
I have one thing that I got last night, right? And
I don't have to go.
Yeah, it's like 7
But
I'm like, right now, I think she's like went through it. Yeah.
because like I was told everything, so that was affecting how I do things and stuff. And when
Hey, I'm Morgan. Nice to meet you.
yeah, they told me that you're
Are you on mine? They are yes. Yes, it's there. I didn't know you were on.
So my thing is, why do we have
It was you that said your parents were watching it. They were watching it and then like, so like, like when you put something like watching it, I was like,
My mom likes to every time you guys are going through it, my mom's like,
did they really?
I mean, I was here, so I was
We can do that. You're right. Okay, never mind.
Like on Monday. Okay. I was told about yesterday, like to be
No, we all agree.
and it seems like but I figured it out on Thursday.
So first thing talk in the morning, and first thing talk at midnight.
yeah, so just like this.
So, in other words, if you know the answer, correct. So February 1st when I can drop a picture.
So when does it end?
The day before election.
That's what I'm saying.
Also, it's a whole month. And then wait.
It's open. I don't know, and then I'm still kind of
Spring break. So I guess what's
Okay, all right, okay, I can do that. I can do that. I'm
I'm here for spring break.
And you know the answer. You know the answer. All right, let's go. All right, come on, Kyra, come on.
I'm so happy. Well, shout out to you. I was so shocked. Other speakers. Let me take my Mr. later. Yeah.
And we always speak abroad.
And I like, what I want to do is like, whatever we find out, to add that to it. Or now within that, so these are the options. Yeah.
You look tired. Our student teacher going to have it started. Not yet? Next year? Okay.
Don't, yeah.
Someone else was telling us we didn't see Isaiah.
Okay, bye. Yeah. Okay, thank you, yeah.
So I know that there was no rallies for one candidate or the other last year, but I remember going to the Senator Tim Kaine one.
Yeah. And,
I'm just picking on you.
No. And that one was
Not supposed to be that. I know that. It
Yeah.
wasn't. It turned into a rally, but it shouldn't have.
Yeah, well, and the thing, if they would have wanted space, different space, they wanted the TED. And when you take the TED, it comes up with all those parking garages.
Not just that, but it's expensive.
Yeah.
And it's a logistics nightmare.
Yeah, and so they did talk about it. Yeah, Tim Kaine had this impact on us too.
Yeah, I know. And his wife was the director, state director.
But
of
it took,
education, so.
it didn't take so much parking, but it disrupted that side of campus,
It
that
did,
whole
yeah.
side.
I remember. I was there. I remember.
I mean, great for. I would love it if we hosted the candidates. I really would. I think it would be great for our campus.
I think with a little bit more advanced planning, you probably could.
Yeah, it's and it's time and place. Like there are times when we could do it. You know, I mean, we could do it probably in an evening, but during the day when our students are here, wherever they park.
I don't know, make them do it in the football stadium. And then everything's right there. All the parking and everything's right there next to it.
Yeah.
And you're only disrupting one parking garage as opposed to 4.
Yeah, and I would love it if we had the candidates.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it would be great for our students.
I actually had a question about this girl I haven't been able to connect with, this lady I haven't been able to connect with, about the student veterans thing you'd emailed me about. Somebody who's doing research, or somebody, you're a PhD student.
Patrice.
Yes.
Yes.
So I haven't gotten it, like we can't be able to make schedules work yet. So I'm trying to, I know she wanted information or meet up long before now, but.
Yeah, it's okay, because she's got thrown off by snow and stuff.
Yeah.
She has a lot of interest in that, and so I wanted her to talk with you.
What is it that she's exactly trying to do?
So she's a PhD grad student from the University of Georgia. Okay. And she's looking at support mechanisms for military attention.
Okay.